Hello and welcome in to a very, very special Contingency Sidetracked video trailer. We're going to be analyzing the One Piece trailer after years, I tell you years. I've been waiting for this production since the day it was announced, before they even started filming, before the actors were even announced. Iñaki was up there talking about, I've been waiting such a long time for this. No, I've been waiting a long time for this. The One Piece live action teaser trailer has finally come out, and we're going to analyze it, look for all the things that you might not have seen, or just pointing out some cool stuff that I really like that they're going to be doing that give me a lot of hope for this One Piece live action. So without any further ado, let's just hop into the trailer.
Ever since I was a kid, the sea's been calling. So, I'm setting out to follow my dreams. I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
Okay, this first little bit, we got a voiceover from Iñaki Godoy as Monkey D. Luffy, talking about his obvious biggest dream to become king of the pirates. And I really like how this characterizes him. I like how he sounds. He's sounding very innocent. And we got our first close-up of Iñaki in full costume with Scar and everything, and it looks so good. It looks amazing. And like the slow pan of the Mary and this like whole like establishing shots of the world, it looks so unique, and you can tell he spent a lot of time working on this. It's really good. And I like that it's a little small detail, but it's not like Cowboy Bebop where they just have them in their one outfit the whole time and it's just their only outfit. They have them switching clothes. You can see Luffy's in different shirts throughout this full first 20 seconds of this. He's in a different shirt, which seems to be probably something they've added in. Probably it's like, it's obviously going to be more things they've added in scenes, like something they've added in the Syrup Village arc, where he's like walking in and probably meeting the Going Merry before they actually are given the ship. And he's wearing like a little bit of a flowery shirt, and when he's sitting on it in front of the Baratier, he's wearing kind of like overalls, but it like still keeps to Luffy's color scheme, and it doesn't break his character a lot, which I really, really like. And this last shot of just Shell Town is fantastic. Like, it looks just like the town from the anime / manga brought to life. It's so good, and it's just gorgeous as it like cascades down the mountain. Like it feels like a fantasy world that's just like has its own like style, and it just looks great in this. It really does. But let's continue on with the next portion of the trailer.
All I need is a loyal crew. And I think together we'd make a pretty good team.
Alright, this next portion, we just got the continuation of Luffy's voiceover with him talking about, obviously, the crew that he's going to make, the first initial East Blue 5 Straw Hats, which we get a really good look at, most of them early on in this trailer. Definitely the three prominent ones, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami. And in this first introduction, I really love like this like close-up shot of Luffy, like this that's like kind of hazy, that pans around and to show the kind of like the mystery of where he's at, and that slowly reveals Zoro in his iconic pose that's just ripped straight from the manga. Like, he looks fantastic in this. Like, I if there's one thing that One Piece live action is going to keep to its name, it's that it looks good. It looks really good, and his exact pose is exactly from the panel. And right behind him, you can see a kind of blurry, not too clear picture of Axe Hand Morgan, which is right on brand for his character, just putting up a giant poster of himself to show how great he is, and just to revel in his own awesomeness. Awesomeness is really on brand for his character. So I like that they're adding little bits of characterization that aren't really even in the original story, but that add to flesh out the world even more, and aid to just help with this One Piece live action. So yeah, next segment.
We're heading up to the Grand Line.
A treacherous stretch of ocean with bigger islands and bigger pirates. Careful with that.
I don't work for you.
I'm sensing a little bit of tension amongst the crew.
Not a crew.
Okay, so in this next segment, we got a lot of stuff here. There is a quick showing of Zoro's swordsman skills with a little sword fight scene that isn't really in the manga. I don't know who this character is. Actually, I do know who this character is. This is the Baroque Works agent that Zoro talks about fighting way back in Alabasta when he says he's heard about the agency. That's who this is. This is even indicative of the little character design for that Oda drew for this Baroque Works agent that really back then, and they kind of fleshed this out and made this more of a full thing. Like this is going to be more of a flashback or something that maybe introduces us to Zoro's character in the first episode before we even meet him, which still looks really, really good. And especially the sword fighting. Makenyu is no stranger to sword fights. He was in, he had a lot of great sword fights in the Rurouni Kenshin live action, which you can go check out. I'll probably put some clips in. He's really, really good in that, so I trust that his sword fighting skills are going to be put to the test, and that shows in this. They're really, really good quick strikes. We get a quick look at Nami with a little bit of a so-so wig, like something that's really hard to capture with live-action anime adaptations or just live-action adaptations of cartoon material in general, is that the characters tend to look like they're doing cosplay, and that kind of shows here. Like Nami looks like she's cosplaying, but also it looks good. Like all this stuff is good quality, and the wig, it does look good, and it's probably gonna end up growing on me as well. Cause I think it's fine. I'm not gonna nitpick because it's hard to bring this stuff into live action, so it looks good with what we get. And we get a quick bit of interaction with the Lord of the Coast. The CGI and the just sheer scale of the Lord of the Coast in this is massive. You get to see him just completely towering over the boat, and what seems to be like a back shot of Shanks right before their iconic interaction where he's just like, get lost. And I think even more than the manga and the anime, he looks more imposing and more terrifying. And the CGI for this looks really solid and really good. You cannot say that the show does not look good. The show has a $100 million budget, and that really, really shows. The CGI is good, the set work is good, the costuming and the character designing is good. All of this is just top-notch stuff. There's not a single thing that I see from this and go, nah, this isn't it. Because it all works. It all works. It's $100 million. That's more than the first season of Game of Thrones. Netflix has to have a lot of faith in this show if they put $100 million into it on its first season. They're not going to let this flop like Cowboy Bebop. Trust. This is going to be really good. And we also get just a shot of the Miss Love Duck, Alvida's ship from the very first chapter / episode of the One Piece anime, and it looks good. It's a good design, and they also spent quite a bit of time building the set for this ship. A ship that's only used once and we don't really return to. They built a whole set for it, which shows their dedication to making this world come to life. They built a whole set for this on its own, and it looks great. It looks great. You get to see the pirates swinging off, and this is like probably the recreation of the first scene from the first episode where they take down that party ship that Nami's on in the first episode. So I don't know if they're gonna do that like they did this, but it still looks good. And we get a shot of Buggy, which looks absolutely menacing. I was afraid of what they were gonna do with Buggy at first, but after seeing this shot, he looks like a clown pirate that if you see him, you're gonna be like, shit, this guy's deranged, and I do not want to mess with him. And he doesn't look like a joke. Obviously, we're gonna get to know him as Buggy D Clown, the greatest pirate in the world, so we can't see him as a joke. He looks solid. He looks really, really good, and his makeup is scary in all just the right ways. And to top off this little segment, at the end, we get a crew interaction of just Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, probably when they first get onto the Mary. And I can see some people saying that it's like they're adding a bit of like, oh, we're not a crew elements into this, and that isn't really in the original story. But it actually is. If you think back to when Nami first joined the crew, because she hasn't actually joined, she hates pirates. She doesn't want anything to do with them. And she doesn't actually even say she's joining their crew. She says she's going to tag along for a little bit. So them saying they're not a crew is a genuine interaction. That would happen if you flesh out the story like they're doing and give them more scenes and add in some stuff. And Oda signed off on the scene. You have to remember, everything in this Oda signed off on. So it is indicative of their characters, because Oda signed off on this scene himself. And it's not Zoro talking to Luffy and saying they're not a crew, because at this point Zoro has always been loyal to Luffy. It's Zoro talking to Nami and saying that, which they had that relationship in the beginning. So that really works for this. Okay, that was a big one. On to the next segment.
We haven't sailed together for very long, but I know we've got each other's backs.
Okay, not as much as this segment, but still a lot of stuff to look at. A lot of really good stuff. You get a lot of shots of all the other members in the crew. Really quick shot. They show the least of Usopp in this trailer, but from what I can tell, Usopp still looks good. And Usopp is doing what he does best, hiding and running away. He fired the cannon. I think that was him firing the cannonball. Maybe it wasn't him, but I'll go back and check later. I'm not doing that right now. But I think that was him firing the cannonball and just like being like, oh shit, and then just ducking under, like Usopp does. He's a big scaredy cat. Even now still in the series. So that perfectly fits within Usopp's character. And then we get to see the shot of we get to see a shot of Luffy falling into the sea near Baratie at the end of the arc. Right where Sanji will come back and rescue him, which we see later on in just quickly later on in the trailer, which after a quick first shot of Sanji. And you'll notice when you see the shots of Usopp and of Sanji, they don't have their iconic long nose or their curly eyebrow, and I think this works really well for this. If you have to remember, One Piece is an anime, it's a cartoon, and it's very absurdist, and there's a lot of things that like exaggerated features. Now, bringing those into live action, those elements would make you, especially make newer viewers, look at these characters and not take them very seriously at all, and it would kind of be off-putting point. So taking away those elements does not take away from the character. I think it actually makes them just feel more realistic, because again, this is live action, and those elements aren't really very important. So saying that's a bad thing would be more nitpicking than anything. So I think it works, especially for this. It doesn't break them. I don't look at that and go, not Sanji. I look at that and go, okay, there he is. That's Sanji. And we get to see him picking up Luffy and saving him from falling. I don't know if that's in Arlong Park or in Baratie. I'm assuming it's in Baratie because he kind of has the same outfit and it looks like he's falling through the cracks in that one. And shortly after, we get a quick scene of all the crew members fighting together and us in a location that I do not recognize.
Hi, post-editing Kyler here. Here to make a quick announcement. I was wrong and an idiot. I'm going to say in this video that this is probably a fight scene that they added at the end in Logtown, but if you see right here, there is a cross and with a flag above it. Towards the end, you can see the edge of the Marine Captain Morgan poster. So it's clear that this is the fight scene towards the end of the first episode when Zoro and Luffy escape the Marines. And Nami's going to be there apparently, so they've added her in and they meet her sooner than usual. Also, something I didn't notice, this shot of Usopp with the slingshot is clearly the saving shot from Arlong Park that he takes to save the little girl or boy from being killed, I think. I can't remember exactly who he saves, but he saves somebody from being killed. So yeah, just wanted to make that quick edit because I don't know how I missed that. So yeah. So you get to see them and you get to see Zoro with the sword in his mouth for the very first time, which all of this stuff looks really good. Sanji do a quick kick probably against some of the pirates in Baratie, and I wish we got to see more of Sanji's kicking, but it is a teaser. I'm happy with what we got. I'm excited for more. And at the very last thing, we get to see what will probably be the end of the show, the iconic barrel scene where they all put their foot on the barrel and set sail for the Grand Line. God, it looks so good, and I can't wait to see more of that. And this is probably gonna be where the show ends. And they're all just like they're cheering like they do, and they're declaring their dreams. It's all gonna go off. The only thing is, in the manga anime, it's raining in this, and it doesn't look to be raining in this scene. Maybe it'll rain later, maybe it'll rain before, maybe, and then it was shining kind of like as a symbolic thing. Who knows? But at the end of the day, still looks good. Just a nitpick.
not really anything important. Anyway, let's move on to what is the last segment from this trailer.
All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
No, they don't.
Now, in this last segment of the trailer, we get a lot of quick, really, really cool stuff. And really quickly, when you cut to the first shot of Luffy, it's quick to miss, but Kobe is right there next to him in the background in his iconic little chore boy outfit with his glasses and everything right there. So this is a shot, obviously, on the first episode when he rescues Kobe from Alvida, and you get to see him swing back his arm and proudly declare "Gum Gum Pistol," and that is, first of all, I love how Inaki says it. He's so much like weight behind it, and it's like, yeah, I'm saying this move, and it's cheesy and it's corny, and that is what works with Luffy's character. He's exactly the type of character to do that in the world, and that works really well, and it's cool. And the stretching effect, while not being absolutely god tier, maybe just because of the shots they chose in this episode, they look kind of awkward a bit, but it's still good quality stretching. I think far better than the stretching we would have gotten 10 years ago with like the Fantastic Four films. It looks pretty good, and I think it's passable. I don't think it's going to take me out when I see Luffy stretch. I think it's time for him to use the big attack, and that works with this. And quickly you see him about to knock out Alvida on the ship, because it is Alvida's ship, as talked about later with Kobe. And then you get to see this interaction with Luffy and Zoro, which I don't know if this is at Shell's Town or at Log Town, but this is the interaction with Luffy and Zoro, where Luffy talks about all the coolest people call it their finishing moves, and Zoro's like, no, they don't. I actually called this interaction in a short that I did earlier. Since screaming the name of your attack before you do it is a pretty silly thing, I think characters like Luffy and Usopp are pretty prime examples of people who should do this, because it's in their nature to do something silly like this and more fun-loving. And I think as the series goes on, characters like Zoro and Sanji, who are typically more serious, would be, as they get more like acclimated to Luffy and like become more lighthearted, they can start to shout out the name of their moves too, and it kind of be like a fan servicey moment when they do it. This year, discussing how they might do their moves, where I talked about how characters like Luffy and Usopp would do it because it's more silly and more loving, and characters like Zoro would not typically do it, at least at the beginning, because they're more serious. And I believe as we grow to know Zoro more and he becomes acclimated with the crew, he's going to be more open, and he'll probably do that, like say Onigiri, in more of a fan servicey moment towards the end of maybe this season or later on in the show. Probably this season though. And one quick thing that I noticed about Luffy, maybe they do this closer to the beginning, which if they do, then I like it. He has the strap around his head for the hat, which is not something that Luffy gets until Alabasta. Luffy's hat's just free in the wind until then. So I think when he meets Nami at first, she'll do that when she stitches up his hat, like in the beginning after Orange Town. So that's a really cool thing that they added that I really liked. And finally, we got the title card and the release date for August 31st, which means that the rumored release date that came out a long time ago is actually true, which, if that's the case, I've waited 4 years for the show. I can wait 2.5 more months for the release date of the show. All this stuff looks really, really, really good. It looks fantastic. This whole trailer, it teased the right amount of stuff for me to be satiated, but you get to see all the characters in their costumes, some of them interacting with the world, Luffy and Zoro and Nami the most, kind of getting the feel for the world, how it will look, and it looks just like the manga brought to life. It looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to react to the show and post my reactions up on this channel, because I'm definitely doing that for every single episode, and probably for any future trailers that come out as well. And if you want to see my reaction to the initial trailer when it came out during Tadum, I will put a link for that in the card in the thing. So yeah, that was my analysis for the One Piece live action teaser trailer from Tadum, released at August 31st. I'm so excited for this show. It cannot look any better, and I hope this is going to be a show that breaks the curse that anime live actions just aren't good. But this show looks like it's a lot of heart and a lot of people that actually really care about it, and they put a lot of money into this. So I feel like this is gonna be the one. I really hope it's gonna be the one. So yeah, and with that being said, that's the end of the video. If you like this sort of thing, do all the YouTube things like subscribing and whatnot, consider, because we do other stuff, and we're cool. So yeah, with that being said, end of video.